right, we're back. I apologize for that. My phone just got all messed up from a phone call. Never ever record any kind of live videos with a newer phone without using Do Not Disturb because one phone call will destroy everything. But anyways, we ripped a few packs of this, chasing after 92 Upper Deck, the Johnny Bench Joe Morgan autograph. They autographed 2,500 of these cards, seeded into packs randomly in the high series, featuring the last 100 cards of the 800 card set. We got events like Pat Listash rookie. This was a big one back in 92. Got Mike Morgan, a Gwyn Diamond Skills yet again. Bonds Diamond Skills, there's that Danny Gladden. And we have a Mike Kelly. I'd never seen these whenever I was younger. It wasn't probably until 10 plus years ago when I returned to the hobby that I actually knew these existed. So Ben McDonald has one. Mike Kelly has one. They're pretty neat. Mike Sims. Corey says, what the hell? Yeah, same exact thing that happened to you happened to me tonight. My dad just called me, and I normally on my old phone I could swipe the call away, and the live stream keeps working. Well, it doesn't work anymore on the iPhone 16 apparently. You swipe the call away, and it just freezes the whole stream and ruins everything, and I was not able to salvage it. Just the spinning wheel of death would not be brought back from oblivion. So that's what happened there. And it happened to Corey tonight and whatnot. He had somebody calling him while he was live, and it just messed up the whole stream. He had to end it. Kurt Miller, and there's Matt Williams. Ed Smiley says, I'm sorry this John Smiley killed the stream, but I don't have that one. Well, you're going to have it now. I'll put it aside for you. I know I told you most of my John Smileys went into commons, big bulk lots that I got rid of over the years, but as I see them nowadays, I will put them aside for you. We got Alton in the house. Cards, cars, and guitars. First, Super Chats. What is going on, Alton? Welcome, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in a little while. It's a pleasure to have you with us. If Corey could post a link to Alton's channel and you could subscribe to him, I would appreciate it. There's a Dunstan Diamond Skills, Pat Mahomes Sr. There's the rookie threats. Brian Jordan featured in the center. Puffing their chests out, we got Will Clark for Brian Smith if he's loitering in the background. Kirk McCaskill, Jackson, Craig Grebeck, Radinsky. There's Tom Gordon's too cool for school in that photo. Franklin Stubbs. If Paul L were in here, which I don't know if he is, he'd probably have a comment for that card. Felix Jose. There's a Chris Hoyles for Corey's Hoyles PC. Remember back in 92, this is a pretty hot card. Raul Mondesi. His rookies were 91 releases. Most importantly, or notably, I should say, 91 Bowman. And Mark McGuire. I always like that horizontal photo of Big Mac. So if you're just tuning in, we're about 5 minutes into the other stream and it got cut off. So we still got plenty of packs to open. There's a link to Alton's channel. Thank you for posting that. Corey, Diamond debut, Donovan Osborne. I was probably pumped on at one point in time. And Damon Berryhill. There's Dave Martinez again. And the collation is not awful for 92 per deck as far as seeing duplicates so far, like it would be in some releases. There's Tim the Rock Reigns. So John Smiley has two cards. He got one in the high series, one in the low series. This one also going in the stack for Ed. There's Hojo. That was always a cool photo, though. Lenny Harris at the time of his life in the dugout. And not a rookie, it's Pedro Martinez and Ramon Martinez. Pedro Martinez, a young phenom into this photo, and Luis Polonia ending that pack. It says, I remember the upper deck cards were next level compared to everything else, but $1 a pack was crazy. I agree, man. I went for the ones that were less than $1 a pack. We got Rob G in the house. What's going on, Rob? Eric Davis. Mike Bordick leaping around, looking like he's going to do some serious damage with that ball. There's Bip Roberts. We have Van Slyke yet again, the Diamond Skills, Willie Randolph, Tim Wallach, and tagged out, Hebe Brooks, Greg Jeffries. I think I spoke too soon on some of this collation. We got Paul L in here. Indeed he is. Steve Buchel, it's like pre-scraggly little mullet. It's getting there, but not quite. Keith Miller with the Sabo glasses. Frank Viola, Lee Brandt. We got Roberto and Sandy Jr., Alomar, and Frank Thomas. Always liked that card, too. That was always a cool shot. Back in the days of the Sweet Sox logo. Robert H., what's going on? The only thing you missed was my stream being funky. I had to start it over. It's a common theme today. There's something in the air, apparently. Billy Swift. There's a lot of guys that have two cards. You have guys in the high series and the low series. Matt Stairs, pretty big rookie name from around this time. Ozzie  Russ Swan. There's Eric Hansen. McFarlane. Daryl Kyle's second-year card, a funny shot of him. The cool thing about Upper Deck is he had two photos. You had one on the front and one on the back, obviously, kind of different than a lot of cards because you had almost like a full-shot action photo instead of just a portfolio of someone's face. Dan Wilson. Leo Gomez and Robbie Thompson is going to end that pack. But again, if you didn't catch the first part of this live stream, I hate when videos get separated into two parts, especially when it's one box. It drives me nuts because then I don't want to leave that little fragment that's 5 minutes long on here. But I don't know. But anyways, a box of these, I think I paid like $42 maybe with shipping. If you want to grab yourself one, or if you want to go buy the Johnny Morgan, the Johnny Morgan. We're looking for the Johnny Morgan autograph. The Joe Morgan Johnny Bench autograph cost you about $325, roughly in that range. It's typically about what they sell for raw. There's Olerud. It looks like Alex Cole tagging him out. Phillips' MacGyver theme song must have ran in the background. Yeah, after the 90 Tops sabotage, trying to watch MacGyver while opening 90 Tops packs. Can't ever do that again. That's for sure. There's a Biggio, a young Craig Biggio, Steve Hosey. And there is the Straw Man ending that pack. Ripping right along. In pursuit of this elusive card, John Patterson. Starting this one off. I'm almost going to call Mandela effect on that because I don't think that card ever existed back in '92. There's Ozzie and Kurt Stillwell. There's another Smiley. Mike Kelly. We did find a Henderson insert in the first fragment of this video. So if you didn't see that, you probably want to go back and check it out. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of players blowing bubbles in this set overall. There's Fryman and Bill Pacoda, Langston, Cecil Fielder, and the Promiscuous Chicken. This card was always just very suggestive in general. A pretty funny photo there. Mike Gallego. And look at that. We got a bench, we got a Morgan, we got no autograph. And the way to tell on the back side is it'll be an actual triangular diamond, not the Upper Deck fan diamond hologram. So if we go through a pack and flipped upside down, you see the triangular diamond, then we know we have it. Michael Harris says, so that guy I went on the killing spree in Minnesota was my boss 15 years ago. That's freaking nuts. That's crazy. There's Donovan Osborne again. Another guy's got a bunch of cards in this set, apparently. We got here, Tom Glavin. Trevor Williams says, good luck with the rips. I'm fishing with my dad. Trevor Williams is a busy freaking guy. How many Donovan Osborne cards are in this set? It's the third different one so far. Trevor Williams, I got a card from him recently in the mail. I'll share with you guys pretty soon. There's Clemente Nunez again. I remember that card existing in '92. Marquise Grissom. We got G. Brett's Pine Tar the House. Brian Smith, what is going on, man? Jerry Don Gleaton. We had some technical difficulties earlier, but we have recouped since. Robin Ventura leaping around. We got Tony Phillips and Ripken, along with Sid Landrum, and not going to be an autograph, but we got a bench insert card here, Baseball Heroes. It's a big freaking insert set. Paul says, who the hell is Clemente Nunez? 45 card insert set. The actual, like the portrait card that they autographed is a sick looking card. It's pretty awesome. And I know there's going to be a lot of naysayers that are like, well, why don't you just buy the card? Well, I'd way much rather pack pull it. That's probably a story that you really will never forget, as opposed to just going on eBay and clicking a button and having it shipped to your house. There's no real fun in that. We have another hologram, Ryan Turner. We got the expansion teams fresh off the presses, the Rockies and the Marlins in '92. And we got, what is this, Mike Kelly again? Mike Kelly's now on the Omen watch list. Paul L. Wilson Alvarez. John Cerruti. Ruskin. Got a second year. Bag of Pipes, as Corey calls him. Dave Righetti. Jeff Plimpton. And there is Ripken. That was always a cool photo of Ripken. Paul L. is adding him to the list. As we rip right along, there's the big cat coming in hot. Jeffries, Greg Swindell, the OG Omen. There's that Glavin again. So collation is starting to get very tedious. Carlos Gonzalez. That's a cool photo, though. Jose Rio, Mike Bordick, Mark Williamson. There's Kelly Downs. Kelly Downs always had a scum stash. And the ever so hideous antics of Zane Smith never cease to amaze me. There's Kevin Elster. Greenwell. Henderson. Rondell White. As a kid, I was what, about 8 years old in '92. Was real stoked on Rondell White and Mark Newfield. They both have a card together in this set. They were pretty hot prospects. Randy Johnson, like a deranged taxi cab driver in that photo. And we continue on. Tamper-proof packaging. Petey and Cavilla starts things off. There's George Bell. There's a Lofton. Second year Lofton at that. There's Jose Rio again. Always liked this Bonds and Van Slyke as a wee lad, though. It was always a cool card. There's the Murray 400 homers again. Eric Plunk. They're all showing up now. Jackson, Scott Scudder, Alvin Davis. There's a Tony Gwynn. Cool photo in the back. We got to take a look at that. I was hoping he was signing Beckett's there for a second, but not the case. There's Joel Skinner and Steve Decker. And what are the odds of that? That's pretty crazy. There is the Mark Newfield Rondell White. I feel like, I don't know, it was probably worth $1 back in '92. And back then, $1 to me was like, whoa, that card's worth a ton of money in Beckett. But this, I feel like this card was pretty hot. These guys had big potential, big futures ahead of it. And Mark Newfield looks real pissed in that photo. And there's Ben McDonald. And in that pack, Randy Johnson in that photo looked like he had fake eyes. Yeah, it's a creepy photo. It's always been a creepy photo. Tom Candiotti, seen that? A crap load of that Sosa in here. There's Gary Carter. There's the diamond skills of Bonds and Van Slyke. We're really trying to summon Jonathan H. into existence. And this Glavine is the third time seeing that. But obviously you can't put Tom Glavine on the Omen list. He is an Hall of Fame. He's exempt. Abraham Lincoln, I don't know if he's really exempt from the Omen list. I've tried to put him on. Paul L. was not having it. There's Corey Snyder, Roger McDowell. That's a cool photo. They should have put that on the front of the card. But the front photo may be just as good. McDowell sporting those shades. And there's Tremel leaping around. I like how they have the time in the background. It's pretty sweet. Photo of him. And we got Steve Avery. Portrait of him along with Biggio. Paul L. says a new Hall of Fame Omen list. I don't know. Actually, Paul Effett said that. Can we do it? Ed Spelling says, I saw Rondell White in like '91 playing for the Harrisburg Senators, the minor league affiliate for the Expos. That's pretty sick, man. I would have been stoked to see him. Blood Vessel says that Devers trade is crazy. Yeah, Devers on his way to San Francisco. I'm not a big Devers fan. Really not a big fan after I saw kind of, I don't know, how big of a baby he was acting at the beginning of the season. I just made me really not like him that much. Charlie Hayes, Ryan Turner again. There's a checklist card. We got another hologram coming up in here. It's going to be Mike Kelly again. Paul L. put Mike Kelly on the Omen list. The third time seeing that card in this box. Mike Bilecki. Roger McDowell was the real spitter. There's John Franco. We got Brian Smith quoting me. Brian Downing deep in thought in that photo. Pete in Cavilla. I got Tony Fernandez and Will Clark, along with a Biggio portrait and Leo Gomez ending that pack. Ripping right along. Philip says, you probably said this already, what's the odds of getting the signed bench card? I can't find the odds anywhere. A lot of times with these old releases, they never really released odds for autographs. And even if you go online, you try to research them. Like, people might have an idea of it. Like, when you think about Donruss Elites, those were always typically known. Not known, I should say, but people always said they're about one per case. I opened one case, I pulled one. But there's people that have said they've opened cases and never found one. So it's always just kind of assumed, I guess. There's freaking Mike Kelly again. I'm getting real tired of that Mike Kelly card. I'll tell you that right now, Mark Whitten. But if you look around online, which I always refer to Baseball Card PDF for everything, it's got Jeff Treadway taking a sand bath. They always have question marks for pretty much all the autographs from the 90s. Braulio Castillo and Felix Fermin. Paulo says Mike Kelly hologram has to be worse than that Bill Wegman hologram that occasionally appears here. Yeah, I'm real tired of that Mike Kelly, and I'm real sick of it. Alan Tees went to eBay and looked $650 to $1,000 for that card in question. Lance Blankenship and Rene Gonzalez having a gay old time together there. Dave Winfield, Eric Davis, McCaskill, John Wetland. Is John Wetland still in prison? I feel like he's been doing time for a while now, but I haven't heard anything about it in quite a while. And then, we finally did not get a Mike Kelly. We got David McCarty instead. But opening these as a kid, I don't remember ever pulling these holograms. CP1. We're also chasing after the short print of Deion Sanders in here. And I believe you could find the Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck, Frank Thomas in the high series as well. Eduardo Perez and Steve Decker. Seeing a lot of repeats, which should not surprise any one of us. Mike Gallego starting it off. Viola, Eddie Toppensee, and that Bonds, yet again, Jack Armstrong. It's a pretty badass photo of him. Mike Morgan, Marquise Grissom, Henry Cotto. I remember when the NBA holograms, but not baseball. Kevin Moss. Got a Jose Kendo and Jeremy Hernandez looking for offensive signage out there. We see it, but it is cut off, so we can't count that. It's only about half of the Budweiser. So I don't know if like any soccer moms back in '92 would have been angry and offended over that, since it's partially obscured. We got a Saberhagen tossing an apple up. I haven't seen that card in a long time. Jack Morris hitting on a reporter in the dugouts, trying real hard to look real cool in that photo. I remember seeing that card before. Nice legs. Galarraga, you got Hojo. Ken Hill, Keith Miller. Say he's about to throw a hissy fit. The likes this world has never seen in that photo. There's Hojo again. And Mike Morgan. Dante Bichette shows up. Rigetti, Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray's got a lot of cards in this release too. Up and the ever so high Alfredo Griffin. Wetland was cleared to charge in 2023. Was he really? I'd never heard that. I'll have to go read up on that, because I remember like when all that was unfolding and I never heard about it again. So I just assumed after reading it. I guess that's why I don't assume things, because then you wrongly incriminate people and damage their reputation. So I'll go ahead and retract that statement. Kind of like when Rex Hudler was pronounced dead here, and so was Jason Giambi, and probably other people too, I imagine. He was arrested in 2018, and that's probably when when I started to hear about it and just never heard anything about it again. So I guess that goes to show, don't ever really fully form opinions about somebody until you really know the truth. Kurt Stillwell, you got Bonds again, seen that card like 5 times in his box. Steady Eddie, as Corey would insist on me calling him. There's an interesting photo right there. Tim Nairn, Tom Foley, Nuzzy, Dan Pasqua. Got some great photos though. Thomas, young Frank Thomas, and Todd Van Poppel stole away all our hearts and all our wallets and all our dreams, really, in 1992. How many packs we got left? We still got enough to pull this iconic card. Eddie Murray shows up yet again. Next month we're opening, 94 Topps Archives, looking for Hank Aaron autograph. And I haven't decided yet if we're doing the free rip tomorrow night or next Tuesday. It actually might be tomorrow night. If it is, you're going to see it probably go live tomorrow to claim your spots. I haven't decided yet. Mike Hartley. There's Todd Zeal, another guy who stole all our hopes and dreams in the early 90s. Marvin Freeman. And Mike Flanagan. We got Billy Doran, Delana Shields, Carter Ice, and Ted Wood. Ted Wood, another guy I was stoked on way back in 1992. We got Ed Smiley saying, my daughters pulled some Van Poppels and laughed at his name. They wouldn't know how pumped. Yeah, back in 91, that's what you wanted. You wanted Phil Plantier. You wanted Todd Van Poppel. And you were going to be rich in doing so. There's Ben McDonald. Also Ben McDonald. Early 90s. He had to have his cards. CP3. And probably back in 92, I don't think I was really buying high series packs. That's probably why I never really saw those holograms when I was a kid. There's Puckett, Terry Kennedy, Ryan Hoblitzel, definitely fake name, and Scott Erickson ending that pack. I was a big Tim Salmon fan back then, though. I see someone just name dropped him. So we got what? 9 packs left. Maybe not. I miscounted. We got 3 in these stacks. Even better. Might stick around all night and open, very well may open some 91 Fleer, a case of it. Wash that down with some 92 Topps Kids. There's Hojo, George Bell, man wearing a checklist card. Oh, I hated that. Checklist always robbed me of potential PC players. Kevin Gross in the Witness Protection Program. Yeah, Galarraga again. And Ray Langford. Anderson, Todd Zeal, and Mike Scioscia. Luis Soho. Some sort of argument at the plate. Archie, starting things off. Bonds and Van Slyke. A lot of dupes coming through here. Why is there so many of that Bonds in here? I'm not really going to complain about it that much, but we've seen no Manny Ramirez rookie. We've not seen a Sean Green. All we see is Billy Hatcher in a freaking turtleneck staring back at me from the abyss. Ellis Burks. Terry Steinbach. And caught him in a funny photo there. Velarde. Or Hershiser, Fletcher. We got a Rob Dibble portrait. And, oh, man, that's the card. That is the card. It's not the autograph. This is a freaking cool card. This is the one they signed. Bench and Morgan both signed this one out of 2,500. Man, that would have been sick. Not to say we can't find it yet, but our odds are running out. We got 10 packs remaining. Big Red Machine. It's a sick looking card. The background's freaking awesome. I just think the autographs on it really pop, as some people say, and I freaking hate when they say that. So I'm saying it to raise awareness on how ridiculous it sounds. There's Tark Wendell, brushing his teeth in the dugout, a man of very many superstitions. Quite the wild man, I should say. Melito Perez again. Jonathan H. is still not here. He must have something else going on, or he just doesn't really like us anymore. Anthony Young, checklist card. Walt Weiss, around the bases. Tom Goodwin, Gene Larkin. Like he's doing the crab walk. And Todd Hundley. Foley Rose were also on there with him. That would be epic. Absolutely epic. Chad Curtis was real stoked on him back then, too. He's now part of the Topps Jailbreak collection. Coming soon, there's that wild Mike Bordick again. Got Steve Sachs, Bud Black. Clemens shows up. I haven't seen like a whole lot of really star players in here, though. Like we haven't seen a Griffey yet. Nolan Ryan. There's Alo Suna. This photo literally taken directly off the ending of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. And speaking of Indiana Jones, went and saw it last on the big screen, which is pretty sick. It was in theaters. I don't know if it's near you, but in my town, it was playing on Saturday, Sunday, and it's also playing on Wednesday night. I think it's wrapped, or it was planned around Father's Day. It's The Last Crusade, the very last like legitimate Indiana Jones. I'm not a big fan of Crystal Skull. I don't hate it. I don't really like it that much. It's not part of the original trilogy, which were the best. But I went and saw that last night. Took my mom and dad to see it for Father's Day, and that's pretty freaking awesome to see it on the big screen. I'm pretty sure my dad took me to see that back in '89. Love that movie. Grand Theft, you got Henderson, so check out your theaters if you want to see it on the big screen, because it's definitely well worth it. I was relatively surprised how packed it was in there. It wasn't at first, but there's a lot of seats that were occupied for that, and I was pretty happy to see that. There's Bo Jackson, John Wayner. I remember seeing Crusades as a kid in theaters. It's a great movie. It's definitely, between that and Raiders of the Lost Ark, my favorite one. I think Crusade might be my favorite, though. I've probably seen Raiders of the Lost Ark more than any other ones, but classic films. Paul Olsen, should I post what I have of the Topps Jailbreak list on the Facebook group? Yeah, absolutely. There's Von Hayes again, Kevin Seitzer, Butch Henry, Jeffries, Rene Gonzalez, Sheffield. Still no sign of Manny. Darren Lewis. We got a lot of guys signing autographs in these photos. Wood Mosby, Junior Felix. Used to not like him as a kid at all. And Melito Perez has 2 cards. Scott Erickson portrait. And we're getting close to the nitty-gritty here. Seitzer, checklist, Ken Hill, Jack Armstrong, or Jack Morris. Check those legs out again. Billy Swift. Haven't seen this Chris Gwynn yet. That's a really action-packed photo of Greg Jeffries there. Milt Kyler, Tom Browning, and yeah, post it up. I don't know if you've ever posted it, actually. I don't remember seeing it. Andy Ashby. We got another insert card. The first one was Henderson. Now the Crime Dog. Fred McGriff comes fourth. That was from the part 1 of this ghetto video that cut off. Pulled that Henderson. We got 5 packs left. To find the Big Red Machine. We find that or more of that Barry Bonds Diamond Skills card. There's been 10 of that in here. Blankenship, Juan Augusto, Alan Anderson. There's a Paul O'Neill from Mikey G if he's in here. Alex says, thanks, John, for releasing 30-plus-year-old cards from Prisons of Packs. That's what I was thinking about. You open them up, there's like 30-year-old air in there. You have to release them. Sandberg. And you got to sniff it, too, and it smells like 1992. If you did it enough, maybe there's a possibility you might actually end up back in 1992, which would be amazing. Yeah, I just did that. We'll see if it works. That'd be pretty awesome. Open packs, sniff it, go on some sort of wild acid trip back to 1992. Oh, it'd be amazing. I wish that was a thing. I gotta make a skit on that. That might be coming soon. Paul L. put that on the empty promises list. It's gonna happen. Paul says he'll be placed in a new prison of a 5,000 box soon enough. You're not wrong there. John Barfielder, Sweet Lou Whitaker, Jerome Walton, Rivera, Pena, and Drebeck. Fortunately, has not called me from the bar in my dreams lately. John the Card Emancipator jabs. I like it. It's got a nice ring to it. There's Larkin. Kind of giving the Bryce Harper stare down there around in the bag. And then there were three. Paul L., the director of records here at TPIA, is adding that to the empty promises list, which is probably getting pretty long by now, I could only imagine. Seen a lot of John Wetland now. Gladden, Eddie Murray, the man with two first names, Scott Terry, Dave Justice, Darrell Hamilton. So we're seeing some different collation now, at least. Doug DeCenzo, got Ron Robinson, his ever so dorkiness, along with Chris George. And what do we have here? It's not going to be the autograph, but these cards are cool, though. I don't really see those all too often. I see a ton of Ted Williams baseball heroes inserts from the Low series, but I don't really see these too often, so that's cool. Have a breath of fresh air. 2 packs remain. There's that Henderson yet again. It's not an insert card. It's part of the base set, number 782, but a cool card nonetheless. Stole his thousands base. There's that Clemente Nunez again. Paul L. is probably going to be pissed at the sight of that. Ken Hill, Calvin Jones. There's Kevin Mitchell, Saberhagen, and the Apple. Joe Perry. And we got Frank Castillo. There's Monty Ferris, Bruce Ruffin, Grace, David Justice. Welcome to the Chop Shop. It's a cool card. It's one I don't see all too often either. And Pendleton. And then there was one. So we did pull the Big Red Machine, but not the autograph. I'm still obsessing over this Vaughn Hayes card off camera. It looks like he's swinging a pair of hedge clippers. That should be a thing. Paul says 308 names on the top jailbreak list. Oh, there'd be like 50 on there. That's pretty wild. Last pack magic. Can we do it? Or will I strike out yet again in this series that I feel like I've been doing this series for what, like 2 years now? Something like that. I've yet to pull one of these elusive cards, but I see it all the time online where people are like, I bought 1 pack from my LCS and pulled this DiMaggio autograph from 92 score. Mark Gubaza. I don't know if they're lying or if they just have really good luck. I have not had that luck. We're due here. Kevin Moss and Rob Dibble. Upskirt photo. And that pack for the high edition of 92 Upper Deck. So we got a whole bunch of Mike Kelly holograms. We got 2 insert cards. No Manny Ramirez rookie. No Sean Green rookie. A lot of times in the highest series, it kind of restricts you from pulling any of those key cards in the low series, but that's the risk you take if you want that Bench Morgan card like I do. We may do this one again. I don't think I've opened a box of these for 4 years, believe it or not. So we'll revisit this again at some point. Forward need on a WaxStack. If you have suggestions on boxes that aren't crazy prices, I try to stay around like $50 range for this series, just because it's just meant for fun. Let me know down below in the comments, and I will take them into consideration. And I'm not entirely sure if we're going to open up the box for the Patreon rip tomorrow night, or if that'll be next Tuesday. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys all back next time. Thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your evening.